J-Dub puts OKC one dub away from an NBA championship. Tyrese Haliburton puts a goose egg in the field goals made column. Does anyone really want Kevin Durant? And one top NBA draft prospect says no thanks to working out. That's all today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets and your Shot Clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories every day with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast and senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt, ESPN did the thing that everyone online howled about and showed the player intros in the NBA Finals. First time in over a decade. My question to you is, what should we ask for next?
$100 for each of us, $1,000 for every fan. I think the real thing that we should ask for is just for Scott Van Pelt to host the pregame and halftime show alongside Malika Andrews. Do those two things.
Okay.
And then if we can just get Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins, instead of a broadcast conversation, they could just talk to each other in a warehouse locked away inside of a steel room with no cameras. That would be ideal. I think we do that and we're well on our way.
Like a glass case from one of those quiz shows in the 1960s. No, I like that idea. From the Locked On Bulls podcast, we've got Hayes. Hayes, what's your big idea? What should we ask for next? Because apparently they're listening.
I think to get the number one overall pick, we should do away with the lottery, and we should put all the GMs and owners in an elimination chamber hosted by Mankind.
Trial by combat.
Well, so naturally, my next question is, who's the favorite? If that's going to be like when you think of GMs, who are you most afraid of?
That's a great question.
I think I'm
Pat Riley, because I'm not. Pat Riley will pull some just unexpected dirty stuff that I wouldn't put past him. Old man stuff. There.
Sam Presti's about to defeat Rob Pelinka, and Nico Harrison hits Sam Presti in the back of the steel chair. That's what happens. to hand Pelinka the win.
All right, let us know what you think on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. In the comments, who would win an elimination chamber match between the NBA GMs? The OKC Thunder win Game 5, 120-109. They fight off another full team effort second half comeback from Indiana. Jalen Williams drops 40 points, joining Russell Westbrook as the only players to do that in a finals for Oklahoma City. Hayes, what was your biggest takeaway from Game 5?
Man, the Pacers really need Tyrese Haliburton to be Tyrese Haliburton game to game. The Thunder came in here, they shot well. It was like a perfect just storm of things that went wrong. Haliburton wasn't healthy. The Thunder shot the ball exceptionally well from three. Their defense was on point and 22 turnovers. It's going to be hard to win any game like that, especially when Tyrese Haliburton doesn't make a single field goal.
Mine was, there's the Thunder. There they are. I was wondering if they were going to show back up. And indeed they did. How about this? 23 turnovers for the Indiana Pacers for 32 points. That's more like it for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Rotations were on point. Activity, physicality, the way that they were getting out. They were way faster last night, I thought. They won 17-13 in fast break points. All their execution was great. They were hitting timely shots. They got contributions from just about everybody. That was more of what I was expecting coming into the series, was that game from OKC.
After the game from Jalen Williams dropping 40 points, how close do you think he is to being Finals MVP? I think we can start to have that conversation right now. The series not over, but we will have our first elimination game on Thursday. So, Matt, how close is J-Dub to sort of stealing a Finals MVP from the actual NBA MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
I think he's been more impactful. I just think he's been better, especially in their wins. I think Shai had a great game 2 in a blowout win after they'd already lost home court, but 3, 4, 5. And if he has another game in game 6, that'll be 3 straight wins where J-Dub has been like the biggest driving force of their success. Like he's getting downhill. He's forcing the issue. He's taking pressure off of Shea, who's been so bothered by Nembhard. And he's been an incredible defender. I really do think he deserves it at this point if he has another strong game. But it's tough because if you look at the box score stuff, it's just like, oh, Shea's just like last night. Shea didn't shoot well. Shea really wasn't all that dominant. He had 10 assists. He was really good at finding open guys. But he just still winds up with 31 points because he gets the line for 14 free throws. So it's just very hard to get the box score stuff there. But if we're talking about impact on the series, I actually think J-Dub's been finals MVP.
Yeah, I agree with Matt wholeheartedly there. J-Dub has been the MVP in this. And that's not to say that Shea's been bad or anything. You know, I think some people take it as that if you have that conversation. But when you look at impact on both sides of the ball, when you look at doing more than what we've typically seen from him in some other series, he's stepped up the most as well. He's made big shots, big plays on both sides, defensively and offensively. I think that depending on in the elimination game, when the Thunder do eventually, if they eventually seal this series out, that's probably going to be the last thing on top there. But J-Dub definitely deserves to win Finals MVP.
Rylan Stiles is flying high on today's episode of Locked On Thunder, and he's not shying away. He says this is the best fitting duo in OKC Thunder history.
One thing that I think is undisputable, this is the very best Thunder duo in terms of complementary basketball. The fit between these two is seamless. They have some redundancy in their skill set, but they play off of each other so well that the Thunder have never had two guys who are of this talent level with this structure and ability to play off of one another ever. And it's gotten them closer now than they've ever been to winning a championship. They've got one more win to kind of memorialize themselves and stake their claim to the first championship in Thunder history.
So Rylan goes with the fit angle there, but Hayes, are you ready to make the larger leap and say that this SGA J-Dub combo is actually better than KD and Russ during their run in Oklahoma City?
It's tough comparing players to two surefire Hall of Famers. It's just difficult to do that. I do think when you talk about the fit part of it is, there's a conversation to be had there. I think when they win this, if they win this title, then it solidifies them as the best duo just from accolades standpoint and from the fact that they are still barely really scratching the surface of exactly who they're going to be as a duo going forward into the NBA. They could be winning titles for years and years and years to come. So I think that that's a safe bet to bet on them being the better duo.
I don't know. I think the money's going to become an issue eventually. That's hard to build with 3 stars. And J-Dub's going to be an all-NBA talent. And Chet Holmgren is probably going to win a Defensive Player of the Year. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to continue being the guy at the top. And if, I look at J-Dub and I see a lot of Harden, not from how he plays perspective, but the impact that he makes and in the role that he does. And I think most people think it's Shai and then J-Dub and then Chet. And so Chet would kind of be the Harden guy. But I actually think they're not going to let go of Chet Holmgren. They will not let go of Chet. They love that guy and he's an elite rim protector and you have to kind of build around that, especially with Shai. So I'm just saying, look, the on-court fit's great. It's good. Their ability to run 2-man game in this series has been really pivotal. You never saw that enough with Russ and KD. But I also am just kind of we'll see. We'll see kind of what happens. For right now, I think that they have touched a peak of playing together that Russ and KD never did.
All right, let's shift over to the Indiana Pacers and let Tony East weigh in on one of the bigger conversations during and after the game, the health of Tyrese Haliburton's lower leg and how it affected the Pacers.
0 made shots in this game. 0. That becomes a big thing. He has to be better. But 1, clearly hurt. People are going to use the excuse card. Watch him. He's limping. He went back with a trainer for part of the game. The Pacers are making clear choices that he's hurt. It's not just lip service, and it's not lip service when Rick Carlisle says they were considering shutting him down at halftime. He said if he can walk, he's playing. It's the finals. That's all great. He is still valuable as a decoy. I know his minutes went poorly for the Pacers. He was a -16, but Lou Dort is guarding him. He is a good catch and shoot player. He does have that kind of value. Their offense was okay with him on the floor. His defense was not very good. He had 3 turnovers. He had 6 assists. He was second on the team in rebounding, right? He wasn't so ineffective because of the gravity he has, but obviously he was extremely ineffective and not even close to the star level that he needs to be, because they have won a game where he was not particularly effective, and they found ways to succeed when he hasn't been at his best, but he has to be much better than that. They don't have much of a chance if he's hobbled again in Game 6.
Matt, what do you do if you're the Pacers and you have 70% of Tyrese Haliburton heading into Game 6. What do you do?
Pray. It's tough because it's like, all right, can you win a defensive game against OKC? And the answer is probably yeah. Like, teams have done it. They've won under like grimy kind of games, but like, it's going to take the best game from Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard of their entire lives. It's going to take the best game of Pascal Siakam's career. It's going to take Miles Turner showing up and being huge. It's going to take committee, but it's going to take timely shots, but it's going to take defense first and foremost. You got to slow them down. You can't turn it over. You cannot turn it over. Your margin for error becomes 0. I think you still play Tyrese. The thing with these injuries, I think, is we don't really know how they're going to react. And the most likely scenario is like, yeah, he's probably going to be hobbled and ineffective and the Thunder are going to win. But there's been times when we've been like, I don't know. Like, remember Aaron Gordon? We were like, I don't know, what's he going to do? And then in like Game 7, he was great and the Thunder won anyway. Like, he could rebound and do everything. So I don't know what this is going to look like, but the script's obviously tough. Tyrese is the best floor shaper in the NBA outside of Jokic, so I think it's really tough for them.
It's extremely tough for them to win anything with Tyrese Haliburton playing that way. If he's not making any shots, you need him to be on. Like, you don't need Tyrese Haliburton to score 28, 30 points, but you do need him to be an efficient scorer when it comes down. So I think they've won. I think they've only lost like 3 or 4 games when Tyrese Haliburton scores 20 points and has like 8 or 9 assists. So, like, of course, you want to get him close there, but you want it to be organic. You need Tyrese Haliburton to raise the floor of your team. Other players can play well. You're going to get players to step up. But if you don't have Tyrese Haliburton healthy, at least like 70% of Tyrese Haliburton is better than I think what we got last night. That didn't even look like 70% of Tyrese Haliburton. That looked like 45, 50%. So if you get at least 70% of Haliburton, I think you're into a good place, but you need everybody else to step up really well.
All right, coming up on Locked On NBA. By the way, go check out Locked On Pacers and Locked On Thunder leading up to Thursday's game, and Locked On NBA Game Night. We'll all be covering it here on the Locked On Podcast Network. But coming up, we're going to shift our focus to the offseason. Is the market for Kevin Durant seizing up as teams throw in offers that maybe Phoenix isn't interested in? Maybe we'll do a reality check. Who should get a reality check here? The teams putting in low ball offers, the Phoenix Suns, or Kevin Durant, about where he can actually end up. All that ahead on Locked On NBA. This episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs, the NBA finals, they are at full throttle. We've got an elimination game coming up. Highlight dunks, wild momentum swings, and players showing up in huge moments. If you're locked into every game like we are, why not turn that energy into a win? FanDuel makes it super easy to get in on the action. I've been tracking these playoff performances all playoffs long, jumping into same-game parlays based on how things unfold. And if I see a player heating up mid-game, like J-Dub, like Jalen Williams, I can add a prop on the fly. You can even combine live bets as the game changes. There are just more ways to play smart and cash in. You can also check out some specials around the NBA draft. I was looking because I cover the Hornets, and it looks like VJ Edgecombe, the favorite to go at 4, but he's also the favorite to go at 3. So this NBA draft looking wild. Get involved with FanDuel. Here's the best part. If you're new to FanDuel, now's the perfect time. Sign up. Place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So why wait? Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. We are one of the most listened to podcasts on the entire Locked On Podcast Network, and we thank you for that. We're also on a mission to become one of the most watched shows on the network. If you've been listening for a long time, please support the show with a sub on YouTube. Let's go to the latest on where Kevin Durant will suit up next year. 3 teams reportedly remain on his wish list, with the Spurs topping the Rockets and the Heat. But Locked On Suns, they really only see 2 viable candidates for a trade that makes sense for both sides. That's the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Miami Heat.
What I think is true is that those 2 teams are are likely to be the most determined to do the deal, right? Because Minnesota was the closest to a championship the past 2 seasons out of any team we're talking about. Miami, they just had the Jimmy Butler thing completely fall apart on them last season and embarrass themselves for months on end. So they want to, get the wheels turning quickly again and put that into the distance.
If you can get Ware, and I don't care what else comes along with it, but I do need a pick or two with him, you do the deal. And I think that's why that report came out from Miami or from Gambo today, because they're not willing to include Ware, which, by the way, is just ridiculous. You have a core of Bam, Hero. The Heat in any other year probably need to start doing the rebuilding thing at least for a second. They'll figure it out very quickly. They're a smart organization, but if you put Kevin Durant on that team, they can win the East. I don't know if they can win the championship, but they can win the East.
All right, so Benjamin Garcia wanting the Miami Heat to take a little bit of a reality check here on Kel'el Ware. The reporting seems to indicate that the Spurs don't want to relinquish the number 2 pick or Stephon Castle. You've got Kevin Durant. I think it's an understatement to say he's not really interested in playing in Minnesota. So who needs to get realistic here, Matt, to get a deal done? These teams that are making what some may consider lowball offers, the Suns with their expectations of what they can get back, or Kevin Durant on his leverage about where he wants to play?
No, none. This is the market. Like, this is the battle, right? Like, KD's got a right to be like, hey, I don't want to play in Minnesota. Like, I don't want to go there. He's got a right at this point in his career to finish his career wherever he wants. Like, I think he's earned that. The Suns, I think, should expect better than Andrew Wiggins and a bad first. That's like, we've talked about that. Yikes. But, when Ben was talking about like how much stuff they were going to get back for KD, and we were like, Hayes and I were cracking up at like, what world where do you think you are, man? Like, this is why. I keep wondering there's still going to be a third team that comes in, especially Hayes. I just continue to feel like instead of what is going to be like great return, it's a return that Matt Ishbia can save face with. If they get a star player back, if they get a big name back. And I don't know who that's going to be, but like that to me feels way more like a solution here is, hey, we'll give you a name. You send us KD. And that to me feels like maybe the way that this outcome comes out.
And it does seem like it's about to start going that direction, because it seems like what the franchise wants versus what KD wants, what teams are offering, like everybody's a little bit off. So as far as Doug's question on who needs a reality check, I think everybody needs to come down to reality, and they'll get there if this deal is going to get done. It's a chance that nobody walks away with exactly how they wanted this deal to go down, and that's usually the sign of a good trade being made where all sides feel like that. So I think that's probably what you're going to look at with this one. To Matt's point, like Ben just said the other day that they were going to get this great haul back. That's not happening. The moment that the Miami Heat were one of his preferred destinations, that lowered everybody else's trade value, because the Miami Heat don't have good first round picks back. They're not going to give up all their young talent because, they're going to want to keep some of those guys. So of course teams are going to start lowballing you because they see what the Miami Heat can offer. And then as some of these teams get out on this market and realize that they just probably can't trade for KD, maybe it goes back up a little bit, but I don't think they're going to get some great haul back for KD like initially thought. I think they're going to get some solid pieces back, which is reportedly what they want. They want pieces that can win now around Devin Booker, and you're going to have a team that goes out and wins 42 games in the Western Conference.
Oh man, I have so many questions around this, but I want to get Hayes' thoughts on something that Matt led with there with his answer, which is KD has earned the right to end his career where he wants to end it. Hayes, do you agree with that? Has he earned the right like 5 different times to end his career? I mean, what do you think about what Matt just said there?
Yeah, I mean, when you're a player of KD's caliber, you're going to have some type of saying where you go. Like it just is what it is. You're going to have your preferences, and that's just is the nature of the game of basketball. So I do think he gets a say to a degree. But if I'm the Phoenix Suns, I'm looking at this. I was already in a situation where I put a team together that you guys wanted together. I'm looking out which team has the best offer for me and where I want this team to go. And if that ends up with KD being also in one of his preferred destinations, great. But I got to look out for my team first.
Matt, if we don't see any movement, in the next few days on this market, what's the likelihood that a secret third team or a secret, sixth team, somebody we haven't talked about yet, jumps into the fray? Jumps into the fray.
We're at the eighth team. So I would say the teams to look out for that are kind of the wild cards are the Clippers and the Raptors. Those are the two teams that I think could probably sneak in there. Like with the Clippers, you're able to offer something like, hey, we'll send you Norman Powell. Zoo's going to be the dividing point, right? But if you're caught between, hey, we can get multiple role players and Norman Powell and Bogdanovich and whoever, or again Andrew Wiggins, then I think you probably go that direction. The Raptors are really interesting because it's Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, the young guys. Like there's a couple of young guys I would absolutely grab if I was Phoenix as like long shots. Like I would be like, hey, you got to throw in Jamal Sheed, and they'd be like, sure, whatever. Sheed's good. Like Sheed's real good. And so like there's a real opportunity there. I don't think that they would be willing to send Brandon Ingram in that deal. That doesn't make any sense for them. But maybe if they're like, yeah, we're going all in with Quickley and Barrett and Barnes and KD. Okay. All right. Sure. You take Brandon Ingram. He puts up some points. You flip him at the deadline, or it works out with Book. Either way, like those are, I think, that are the teams that I would look out for. I've tried to like think of who's the team that no one's heard of that's like operating under the radar. And there's one, but I'm not going to say it on air. I'll tell you guys off the air.
Oh, all right. Secret team. I like it. Secrets. Hayes, will anyone be happy with how all of this turns out? Like, in light of all of this somewhat superstarless system ball that we're seeing in the finals right now, doesn't all of this trading for Kevin Durant when he's, you need to do the extension, he's getting older, doesn't this all feel of a different time?
Yeah, it does feel of a different time. I think the team that gets KD is probably still going to be the happiest out of all out of this whole thing. I don't know if that's going to end up with KD being happy, but I think like you'll still be happy with KD if you take the risk on getting KD with how the market shapes up, where it doesn't seem like you're going to be giving up the farm for it. I think you end up being happy, but this does seem like I said, one of those trades where nobody's 100% happy with what they came into wanting to get out this trade.
Matt, I still don't understand why KD's resisting Minnesota. Well, no, let me take that back.
It's very cold. I've been there one time. It's very, very cold.
I get why he's resisting Minnesota for various reasons, right? Outside of basketball. From the basketball perspective, which he cares so much about, like the dude's just like lives, breathes, sleeps basketball. It's everything to him. Like, dude, you can win a championship there. Like that's the only team on the board here where I'm like, you can win a title there. Not Philly, not Miami, not Houston, not San Antonio. Like that's the one. Like Minnesota's ready to win a title. You could do that there. I don't get it.
Is that his priority? I think a lot of fans have questioned that for a long time.
That's right.
All right. Let us know what you think on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. We will be continuing to cover this until a trade goes down. Will the Lakers be able to make a trade? Are they already priced out of any kind of offseason moves to build around Luka Doncic? That was a topic on Locked On Lakers. We'll hear from the Kamenetsky brothers on the other side. Plus, a high-profile, high-pick prospect in the NBA draft is saying no thanks to working out for teams. Is that a smart move? I'll ask Matt and Hayes ahead on Locked On NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. We have not talked about the Los Angeles Lakers a lot as it pertains to this offseason, and that really shouldn't be a shock as their options for upgrading their roster are severely limited by their finances. It's got Locked On Lakers worried they won't be able to find Luka a decent center option to throw lobs to this season. Let's hear from them.
If there's a team that has a free agent center and they want to keep him, it's going to be very easy to outbid the Lakers and not terribly financially burdensome to outbid the Lakers, because once you get to about $6.5 million, Lakers are out.
Here's where the Lakers can compete, where they can make a very compelling pitch. Playing time. The Lakers have, of all contending teams, if you're a free agent center who, for whatever reason, wants to reestablish value, sign a short contract to maybe get back on the free agent market faster, but you also want to play for a team where you're playing meaningful basketball, the Lakers, more than any team, I think, in the, we'll call them top 10, can offer playing time to a center. So that's the pitch.
Matt, are you swinging at that pitch if you are a free agent center, or will the Lakers be forced to move on from someone like Austin Reeves if they really want to reshape this roster around a better Luka fit?
Yeah, word around the league is that they're looking for trade options for center. And I think that makes a lot more sense. You can't bring in like a bargain basement guy here. If they want to overpay, they can't though. That's the thing is I'm like, well, they want to overpay for Naz Reid. They make that move. Can't really do that. Miles Turner is going to cost them $40 million. Don't have space for that, right? If they come in with an offer for $40 million for Miles Turner and the Pacers simply won't match, maybe they can work out a sign and trade. That would be a pretty decent option, I think, for them. And then other than that, though, it's like I just think that they're going to have to go find an option like Mark Williams. That's why that trade was such a weird situation. Is like that's who I'm sorry, man, but like that's like who they need. Like that's who they needed. They got to go find a Derek Lively for him, and those guys are valuable. You're going to have to trade for one. I don't think there's going to be a free agent on the market for them to be able to get the guy that they need for Luka, and I think it's going to have to include Austin Reeves.
Yeah, I think the trade scenario is the best route to go for them. And, we talked about the Lakers so much in the season. It's kind of good we're not talking about them as much this offseason until they actually do something. Like we talk about the Lakers too much as a basketball fandom. The NBA fans talk about the Lakers too much. But, we'll see what happens to the Lakers. They're going to have some options, but it's going to have to come through a little bloodletting. They're going to have to move one of the pieces that they've coveted, and that could very well be Austin Reeves if they want that center that they want to pair with Luka long term.
Yeah, but like we said that we were like, you're just gonna have to deal with it, and then they got Luka for nothing. So like, let's wait. Stupidity
at that level can't strike twice, right?
I'll just tell you, as a Grizzlies guy, I'm not gonna feel good until we get into training camp and Jaren hasn't been traded for Austin Reeves and a bad swap.
All right, well, before we get into training camp, we've got to get to the NBA draft. Let's talk a little NBA draft to end the show. We are a little over a week away. Time running out for prospects to make their final pitches to teams. But that doesn't seem to be bothering Ace Bailey. ESPN's Jonathan Givony reports that the top prospect has, quote, yet to conduct a single known workout to date, having declined invitations from several teams within his draft range. Sources say Bailey's camp has informed interested teams that they believe he is a top 3 player in the draft, but also seeks a clear pathway to stardom, unquote. Hayes, I know it's common for guys to only work out for a few teams to try and raise their pick floor, but this seems a little bit risky.
It's definitely risky. Not even just a little bit. Like Ace Bailey, who already there are some rumblings of like character concerns with him. So now to get to this point, like I get it. I get wanting to go to a situation where you feel is going to be best suited for you and who you want to turn into and develop into and all that. And I commend a player for that. But like to not work out for teams at all and to start off your NBA career in this light just does not seem like you're doing yourself the biggest service in regards to starting off your career. I'm a little bit concerned about that.
It's really great because Ace Bailey's like, I'm not going to work out for you. And those teams' reaction has largely been, oh, no, that's a shame. Anyway, like he's the most polarizing guy. There's 2 or 3 teams I've heard that have a lot of interest in him. But there's way more teams I've heard that are just like, nope, like not very interested. He's either it can work out for him. Like a team can trade up to 2 and take him, and it would not surprise me. Like San Antonio can trade out, and a team could trade up for 2 and select him, and I'd just be like, okay, if you buy into it, that's fine. You can take your shot here, but like there is a chance he slides, and if he starts sliding, it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, on and on. Like this is a dangerous gambit from the kiddo. I think it's especially in this day and age, where you're looking at the guys that are making the finals and they are not this is not the mold of them. This is not how they approach things. So I think it's really risky from him and his people.
Hayes, do you think we could see he's going to be in the green room. Do you think we'll see a situation where, he's sitting there waiting after everyone else in the green room has already passed, a Shedeur Sanders sort of situation where everybody's like, oh my God, what is going on here?
I'm going to let the petty side of me take. I was going to answer that in a reasonable manner. Yes, I hope that we see it. I hope that we see it. I hope that we absolutely see it. I hope that he falls to number. It won't happen, but I do hope that, because sometimes people just need to be humbled a little bit. And maybe Ace Bailey's one of those guys.
The craziest thing I've heard is I've heard several teams, and this is the exact language that I was told. Hope he's gone by the time it gets to them.
So
they
that
don't want.
They don't have to make the
They
decision.
don't have to make that because it's going to be like he's the best guy on our board. I don't want to draft Ace Bailey. Like that's where they're going to be a lot of this. And that's crazy, I think, for a guy that came in with so much expectation and hype as he did into this freshman season.
We shall see. Make sure you're tuned in to Locked On NBA Big Board. NBA draft expert Rafael Barlow reacts to every workout, interview, and rumor leading up to the NBA draft. You can find Locked On NBA Big Board on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's where you can find this podcast, Locked On NBA. If you like what you heard today, subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Thanks to Matt and Hayes for their expertise every single day. Thank you for making us your first listen. Be kind to each other. We're going to see you right back here tomorrow for more finals coverage, more offseason coverage on Locked On NBA.